The African dialogues are underway at Sun City, and Godfrey Mutizwa caught up with South Africa's Minister of Trade and Industry to discuss some of the challenges the continent faces in promoting regional trade.
Well, I think we've got two challenges. I mean, they are interrelated, but they've also got their own dynamics. I mean, the one is that we have to integrate African regions into larger units so that we can, in fact, create the economies of scale to support industrial development. I think that's essentially what it's about. And that does mean that we have to have an element of trade integration, but it's not simply following a textbook model of moving from free trade areas to customs unions to monetary unions and in some sort of unrealistic time frame. It actually means that we have to try to remove some of the barriers, tariff barriers there may be to intra-regional trade. In our view, that's essentially dealt with in a free trade agreement. And then we need to complement that by addressing some of the very, very important real economy constraints on intra-regional trade, which are inadequate infrastructure, not connecting ourselves to each other. And also we have to cooperate to generate value-added production so that we can have a sizable regional market that is supporting industrial development. That's what all the successful BRICS are doing, but they have large domestic markets. We have, all of us, even the bigger countries in Africa, who have small domestic markets by international standards. So I think that's the first part of it. And then the second part of it is that the way the world economy is unfolding, the dynamism is moving to the south and to the east. Africa is part of that dynamism, but Africa also has to link up with the other dynamic parts of the world, and that means China and India. And here comes the BRICS. I think the importance of the BRICS is that they are now moving into the discussion about how to promote intra-BRICS cooperation. We've been coordinating positions around international governance issues. These things remain very important. Governance of the world economy has got to reflect the new power dynamics, but we now need to work on the mechanisms among ourselves. And I think that we have started to take some important decisions. The BRICS-led development bank, the moves towards trade without resort to third country currencies. I think these are important potential steps forward. And now how does Africa as a whole, not just South Africa because we're in the BRICS, how does Africa as a whole relate to that?
Did you get some answers yesterday?
I think we were beginning to get some answers, and I think we have some ideas. I think, for example, we would like to see the BRICS-led development bank, and I think this is what it's called, the BRICS-led development bank. It's not exclusively seen as a development bank that will only finance projects in BRICS countries, but it can be something which is led by the BRICS, but which is an opportunity for investment in other developing countries. And I think we would like to see that role clarified, strengthened, and really African infrastructure as a major target for potential investments by this institution. So I think that's an example of the interface between the two. But I said yesterday, the fact of the matter is that we're very well placed because we have excellent relations. We have a country on the continent that's a member of the BRICS, and I think that it's a question of how do we build that relationship so that we strengthen a partnership with BRICS countries, not just with South Africa involved, but also with other members of the African continent involved as well.
Right. So today we have got the biggest debate is going to be around the African consumer, as well as, of course, the country breakaway sessions. In terms of what's coming up in that discussion around the African consumer, what exactly are you trying to achieve?
Well, I think there's actually quite a number of debates that have been going on. I was just in one which was about investment promotion and the investment climate in Africa. There are all sorts of other discussions taking place about particular sectors as well. But the African consumer, I think what we've got here is we've got African consumers, and this came out yesterday, who have emerged as a result of the growth which has taken place in Africa and driving a consumer-led element of the growth process, but largely drawing in products which are made somewhere else. The challenge is for us to be supplying African consumers with products that are manufactured in Africa to a larger extent, and I think that's the real challenge that we face there.
Absolutely. I was talking to my producer earlier on that we're in the Platinum Province, and yet what we do is we ship tons and tons of this stuff overseas. They then make the jewelry and bring it back, and then we pay enormous prices for the same product that would have made here.
Well, indeed, and platinum is also used in industrial processes like catalytic converters for motor vehicles. And what we clearly want to see in South Africa is we want to see more of our platinum used to support a deepening of the industrial processes around catalytic converters.
Do you have any timeline for that, Minister?
Well, we do have a project in place which is looking at that. We have there's a piece of work about some vulnerable sectors, but I think we essentially want to move the value addition. So we're not just plating ceramics that are produced somewhere else. We also want to move into the ceramic manufacture of the catalytic converters, and there are also some specialized exhaust systems and things like that. I think that's where we want to try to take ourselves and need to look at all the issues involved in that. How do we build on the resource that is available? And that does require some very, very complicated and serious discussion, because we need to make available the resource to support these industrial projects. It can't just be that the resources is produced here, it goes into a world market, and then someone who manufactures here has to buy it in the same terms and conditions as everybody else on the world market. Those are going to be some complicated matters that we're going to have to deal with.